was there for the first offkai expo. I was like one of the only hype men for offkai expo Gen 1. I was doing streams talking about the events. I was retweeting everybody. I was so into it. And I feel like the attendance for that event, wasn't it only like, it was like 250 or 250 to 250 to 400, right? It was like a very, very small, oh, it was 700. Okay, bigger than I thought. It was a very small convention. You know how many people showed up this year? 6,900. It is 6 times as big. In the year 2025, offkai Expo Gen 4, we had a record-breaking amount of stuff stolen. And by that, I mean, somebody broke into the FaZe Connect truck and stole the booth stuff and then the Sheena standees. Incredible. Incredible. We're always setting new records. The most stuff stolen ever. Hell yeah. So, in terms of actually attending offkai Expo in person, I only went last year, and then I poked my head in a bit this year. My thoughts overall on the convention center, I don't like the new one. I'm not trying to be like autistic about change or whatever, but the new layout was really, really confusing, and I did not like that. I also did not like the general atmosphere of offkai Expo Gen 4. I felt like the staff, not like, I didn't have any official events or anything at this offkai. So I'm not talking like on the back end. I'm talking like in person. My experience with the staff where they were a little bit standoffish. I felt like I was constantly about to be scolded. Overall, it made me really want to stay away from the event center. I don't know who was on the staff or why things turned out that way. Maybe it was like the con center people themselves and not offkai staff. I don't know. All I know is that like I went to go to the artist alley and I'm going up this fucking escalator. I've got my badge on my chest, right? And the woman at the escalator is like, no, come here. And I'm like, what? Okay. Like, she sounded very angry with me. And so I go up to her and she like grabs my badge and inspects it for like 20 seconds and then says, okay, you go. And I was like, okay. That woman sucked. Okay, you guys encountered her too. What the hell was up with that, man? The badge checkers weren't offkai staff? Oh, the staff official guest liaisons were really nice. Oh, I'm glad. The fox like you. I can't imagine the smell put them in a good mood. I didn't smell anything weird. I don't know what people were talking about like that. At least she didn't trauma dump. Notorious badge checker lady. I guess so. Yes, that was convention center staff. That lady was awful. Okay, I'm glad that everybody knows like exactly what I'm talking about. No more, thank you. One asked me to get out of my wheelchair to prove I was disabled. Are you serious? How is that? What? What the fuck? Oh my god. I wouldn't doubt it was the escalator lady that asked you to get out of your wheelchair, because that's fucking insane. She was so aggro. The worst staff not being offkai volunteer sure is surprising. I feel like offkai has come a long way. I feel like conventions in general, maybe I'm too much of an apologist for offkai. However, all conventions have serious growing pains. And offkai Expo is a highly niche convention with very specific requirements that most other cons have to an extent, but don't need to, I guess, be as perfect with. Like most cons, if the internet's kind of bad, you know what? That's okay. That's all right. It's not the end of the world. Maybe somebody's browser's a little bit slow during a panel, but with offkai, it's like they need a fuck ton of like outgoing and ingoing upload, download for like 10 different people constantly, and a bunch of people are also still like using their phones and stuff at the con as well. Like there's like 100 people live streaming at the con. So, you know, I don't really fault offkai for internet issues. Okay? Is it sad? Yes. Does it sometimes lead to missed events? Yes. But like there's only so much they can do. Other issues with offkai, people complain about like the tech side of things. Again, it's hard to get tech people. I do think it's unfortunate when tech issues happen, but like somebody else in chat said, the con is doubling in size every year. All right? They're trying. They're trying. Conventions can go so much worse than offkai ever has. And so, I don't know. I just wish that people had a bit more perspective, you know? And I wish that, like, some people would... Like, some people go into it and they're like, but I don't have these issues at other conventions. And it's like, yeah, because the other conventions have been going on for, like, 10 years. And they're primarily, like, anime cons or whatever the fuck. Like, come on, man. I do prefer the old convention building. I would say if I had any complaint, like one main complaint about the convention this year, is it felt kind of sterile? I don't know. I feel like with last year's offkai, the fact that there was a centralized hub allowed for a better sense of, I don't know, like it felt more like a party. Does that make sense? It felt more like when you look at any wall, there's a VTuber stuff. When you go into the center of the convention, the atrium, there's VTuber stuff everywhere. When I walked in to the San Jose McHenry Center or whatever the hell it's called, I wasn't sure I was in the right place. I was like, I don't know where the fuck to go. I don't know where I am. There's no VTuber stuff anywhere here. I guess I'll just start like following the crowds. There wasn't a lot of decorations. There wasn't a lot of cohesive identity. Quarantine the VTuber stuff. There are some areas that had a fuck ton of cutouts, and all I could think was, why did you put all of the cutouts in the same space? And not like, I wish that there was more large signs on the walls explaining, oh, because they get stolen? How about large signs on the wall that say where you are and point to where else you can go? Because I did see some signs at some points, but they were generally like big maps, and I didn't have a very good idea of where I was to begin with. So looking at the map, I only ended up more confused, and I didn't want to stick around. I'm like, I have a horse in this race, so I'm biased, but it does make me sad that Cleo wasn't able to have an official meet and greet. From a VTuber fan perspective, it feels a little bit like punishing Cleo for keeping her IP while moving to a company. Because I feel like, because offkai has this rule about not doing featured guests 2 years in a row. And I feel like if Cleo had perhaps joined under a new identity or joined a bigger company under a new identity, she would be allowed to have a meet and greet, right? But because she joined as herself, she wasn't allowed to come back again for Gen 4, which is very, I guess, frustrating. It feels like a good rule in theory, but needs to be, in my opinion, again, I am biased in this situation, so take this entirely, like, with a grain of salt. But, like, from my perspective, it feels like, yeah, it needs to be examined on a case-by-case basis, because otherwise you end up in these sorts of situations where it's like, it feels like there is a bias towards the industry rebranding people, if that makes sense. I guess that's what non-official meets are for, but Mari and Sleepy were able to be official guests. It's just like, I don't know. Maybe I'm taking it too personally. But I get why the rule's in place, and I do like the rule in general, but it does sort of feel like, oh, well, like, if somebody was a guest at offkai 1 year, and then next year they join, like, HoloLive, and they're a new identity, I feel like offkai Expo would accept them as a guest, so I don't know. I don't know. But I guess optically, like, to be fair to offkai, it also does look bad of like, okay, well, did offkai like accept a bribe from Face Connect? Why is Cleo allowed to be a guest 2 years in a row or whatever? So like, being fair to them as well, it is like a difficult situation. But of course, naturally, I'm going to root for what I view is best for my coworkers, because I prioritize them over offkai. That's my complicated opinion on that. That being said, I feel like offkai did way better this year than previous years on many fronts. I'm very proud of this convention, how much it's grown. In my experience, the staff has been wonderful. There have been some incidents that perhaps I don't always look at the most fondly, but I feel like offkai in general is a good event that I personally like and I would recommend. I do think if you're a fan of VTubers, it is worth flying out for. I feel like offkai is in like this weird spot where they want to be on good terms with the VTuber companies, so they can't like fully be a fan event, right? Because if they just like go around putting up like HoloLive talents and Niji Sanji talents like on the walls and stuff, it might like disrupt their relations with those companies, because it's like, you're using our IPs, which sucks, because it's like I wish there could be like more stuff like that, and I hope that there can be like a happy middle ground met somehow, like, so for the venue itself to be able to embrace more VTuber stuff. Does that make sense? This probably wouldn't actually work in practice, but if I had to come up with like a solution for the lack of like VTuber decorations around the event center, it would be, I wish that there were like big cork boards or something put up on the walls so that people could just go up and put like big promotional materials up. Or maybe like rented out wall space so that people could put stuff up, and it's like offkai has like the plausible deniability of like, oh, well, the fans put stuff up, not me. They have tables where people left flyers in the halls. Yeah, but the tables were like kind of sad. Okay, like they're fine, but in terms of like decorations around the convention center, I don't know. And to be fair, most anime conventions and stuff are not putting up big decorations on the wall and stuff. It's just offkai last year had a bunch of like really big banners and stuff. And so I'm really nostalgic, and I really loved the celebration of VTubers from last year. And so this year, it's a much bigger space. You would need so many more decorations and stuff in order to accomplish that. But I hope for next year that they have that stuff. There was like a giant Clara that I saw, and I wish there were more things like that. I wish that there were big screens. If I could have any unrealistic idea implemented, it would be that there were big screens put up and people could like pop into them from the offkai official Discord or something, you know? Yeah, projectors on the walls. I wish that there was like some sort of way for VTubers to just appear on the walls, either by projectors or by screens or whatever. I think that would be really cool. Projectors would be sick. Yelling at people as they walk by. That would be cool. I don't know how viable sound would be, but anytime I heard a voice that sounded like a VTuber, I was like ready to fucking run. There were so many. I was always grateful for the ones that said currently not streaming. Those cities are not remotely close. No, they're not. I wish offkai would be in San Diego. San Diego doesn't suck. I don't like San Jose. San Diego is all right. San Diego feels cleaner. San Jose, it's like, wow, I gotta take the fucking highway to get literally anywhere. This shit sucks. San Diego, it's like, oh wow, look at all this fun stuff that's nearby. You want to go to an escape room? It's right there. You want to go drink a bunch? There's a whole district for that right next to the convention center. Oh, look at all these hotels and stuff right there in the area. Look at the nice lack of homeless people, and San Diego is way better. I used to go to cons when I was younger, and I always ended up bored, but I always wanted to like them. And I'm very jealous of you guys, because if I, like, how do I say this? It's like, I wish that I was able to be social and have a community, I guess, when I was younger and going to conventions, because I always felt like I could never connect with anybody. And a lot of the conventions, I'd basically be going there to buy handmade crafts, and then I would just go and sit and play my DS. And now I look at offkai, and it's like everything that I wanted when I was younger, you know? Like when I was younger, I would try to go to like the gaming areas to play games and stuff and hope that I got included, hope that there was like room for stuff. But if it was like, if offkai happened back when I was younger, I feel like I would have been able to connect with people. You think your community isn't filled with adult males? I don't think gender or age matters in terms of making friends and having a good time at a convention. Because ideally, when you go to a convention, you go there to have a good time and celebrate stuff, right? To enjoy a community. And I feel like a lot of the time that gets boiled down to shit like room parties. If like offkai, if I was not a VTuber and I was just looking at offkai, if I went to offkai, it would be so easy to meet like-minded people, to be able to hang out and play games and do stuff. Because there's so many like niche communities in there. Chat, like the highlight of my trip probably was there was a Nimi cosplayer, and I said, "Can I get a photo of you?" And he said, "Yeah." And I took a photo of him. He had like the Omona plushie, and I was like, "Oh yeah, man, I should have brought mine. I forgot mine at home." Blah blah. Blah. Yeah, wait, it was a guy cosplaying Nimi. Yeah, Nimi male, and it was like, "Oh yeah, I got mine." Blah 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 blah. So I take the photo, and then he gives me like this little badge thing. He gave me like a little Nimi badge just for free. I was so happy. A ribbon. No, it wasn't a ribbon. It was like a little ID badge. I saw him give me one too. I was so happy. That and like the ribbon stuff. I love it. Getting random ribbons from people. It's like this little thing that happens that just makes you feel like you're part of something real. You know? It feels like physical evidence that you are able to connect with another life form, if even for a second. You know what I mean? IRL achievements, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm too sentimental, but it was just so cool seeing other fans of people that I'm a fan of. It always, like, even when the interactions are like so brief, like under a minute, just asking somebody for a photo. It's just so happy. It made me so happy. I found not very many pieces of Vesper merchandise, but I did find this, and it was the last one. And so I bought this, and then as I'm heading out of the artist alley, I find this cosplayer, and I'm like, "Can you squeeze the Vesper for me?" And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Squeeze this Vesper." And I hand it to him, and he was like, "Okay." Okay, here's my complaints about the artist alley this year. There was not a lot of independent VTuber merch, which was very disappointing. I know this isn't something that offkai themselves can necessarily control, but I was very sad walking around the convention and not seeing as many booths dedicated to like smaller or regular size type indies. There was a shit ton of Nimi, there was a shit ton of Doobie, there was not as much, there was a shit ton of Doki and Mint. There was not as much like just random indies this year. Hi, Anja! There was quite a few Pelodeer merch. I did not see much Pelodeer merch. I only saw one piece, actually. I saw the Hello My Oshi Is, and there was a Pelodeer one, and I regret not grabbing it because I thought I would see more. Any Shondo stuff? Yes! There was a few pieces. I bought the Moso Box Fallen Shadow coffee. I was annoyed. There was some dude while I was at the Moso Box booth, like trying to buy the coffee. There was some dude with a Shondo Fumo kept bumping into me. I wanted to fucking kill him. I wanted to take that bag of coffee and I wanted to fucking beat him senseless. Like, fuck off, man. Fuck off. Personal space. The Shumo. You don't deserve to have that Shumo. Hand it over to me. I'll treat her better. Me, another phase girl, and one of the managers are all chilling on a couch complaining about Sakana. And we're like in like this hotel lobby thing, and there's like all these people like walking by, and they're like just far enough away that I don't think they can hear anything that we're saying or recognize voices at all. So we're like, the three of us are just like trauma bonding on the couch, watching people with Phase Connect bags and Phase Connect merchandise walk by. It was the funniest fucking thing. Oh my god. Oh my god, man. I watched somebody buy a Pippa keychain right in front of me. They don't know I'm Pippa. That is my strongest complaint though for offkai Gen 4 is I feel like the having to maintain professional relations does weaken the con. I kind of wish in a way that like the VTuber industry would stay out of the VTuber fan events. Is that weird? Because I know if they did stay out of it, I'd just be wanting them to get involved. But I feel like, man, I wish people could just go crazy and do whatever they want. Oh my, thank you, Pipman Freudka. Yeah, my psychoanalyses are just as accurate. Well, said thank you. Silly Bunny forgets that how she feels for VTubers is how we feel for her. Okay. Maybe I'm sensitive. Maybe I'm too sensitive to the lack of like VTuber influence aesthetically in offkai. Maybe I'm oversensitive because of all like the big corporation dramas and stuff. I'm like, I guess a bit on edge. I think it's just that the advertising is less dense than in previous offkai. I want more advertising. I want more advertising from VTuber companies. I want more advertising from indies. I want big projectors. I want big signs, big posters. I want banners and tapestries and fun little pop-ups that people can just interact with as they're going in through the convention. I don't want everything to be relegated to specific rooms like Industry Hall and Artist Alley. I want there to be a bunch of stuff everywhere. I want the whole con to feel like a party. Ah! I want FaceCon to feel like offkai Gen 3 with less drama. But you know, there's like a saying that the best party always has something to complain about. So I hope FaceCon has something inoffensive for the community to complain about, so that way people can enjoy the con and get their fill of complaining about something without it being something that's actually impactful. You know what I mean? I want there to be some sort of stupid drama, like the cosplays are inaccurate, or I don't even know what. Somebody streaked in the convention. God damn it.
Everybody, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Low Effort Clips. That's right, Low Effort Clips, right here on YouTube.com. Yeah, and hit the notification bell. Yeah.